Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. NARD signs Memorandum of Understanding with federal government in an effort to end ongoing strike. Governor Nyesom Wike asked National Assembly leadership aspirants to respect APC's decision. On the foreign scene, President Vladimir Putin has praised the Russian troops for capturing Ukraine's Bakhmut. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. We begin with health matters where the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has signed a memorandum of understanding with the federal government in an effort to end the ongoing strike. NARD commenced a 5-day warning strike on May 17 to press home its demand after a 14-day ultimatum to the government lapsed. The doctors are demanding an immediate increment in the consolidated medical salary structure to the tune of 200% of their current gross salaries. They also want massive recruitment of clinical staff in hospitals and an immediate withdrawal of the bill seeking to compel medical and dental graduates to render 5-year compulsory services in Nigeria before being granted full licenses to practice, among others. The doctors on Friday met with the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Health and the Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, to deliberate on their demands. According to NARD, its National Executive Council will decide on the timelines set in the content of the MOU. Moving on, the federal government has removed the managing director of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Captain Rabiu Yadudu. This is as the government approved the appointment of the current manager, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, Kabir Mohammed, as the new FAN managing director. He is expected to assume duty next week. Mr. Mohammed, before his appointment as the new FAN boss, was also the Regional General Manager, North Central. He was appointed as the Chairman of Aviation Roadmap Implementation Committee in January 2022 by the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, a position he effectively combined with his office as the General Manager, Special Duties at FAN. Details of why Captain Yadudu was removed are still sketchy. To politics, former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Lasun Yusuf, has lamented the death of true governance in Nigeria. Speaking with Western Spring Television News in Osogbo, Mr. Lasun stated that it was sad that several Nigerian leaders in the corridor of power had little knowledge about making policies and decisions that would directly improve the lives of citizens. The former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives also described as sad that many political leaders in Nigeria who desire to lead do so for pecuniary gains.
99% of people who go to government in Nigeria cannot relate government to development. I repeat, 99% of people who find themselves at the corridor of power, either at local, state, or federal level in Nigeria, don't have any business in being government. You cannot go back and interpret that to mean so many things. But I will give you examples. When I was the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, I knew right in my mind that the only thing I can do for my community to show that I understand government was to facilitate in making sure that Ojutu Bridge on the River was reconstructed. I was clear. When I got the opportunity, I put the bridge in the budget. And lo and behold, Today, that bridge is complete. People are using it. But the best part of it is that when the construction of the bridge was being rounded up, the immediate past government discovered that the road was no good, and they went there and tied the road. And so today you drive to Ilobu. But whereas if I did not do that bridge, the attraction that the road was not good will not be there. Or the government will want to do the road, leave the bridge undone, and this is a bridge that on an average weekend, it will take you a minimum, at least on an average weekend of Friday and Saturday, it will take a minimum of 2 to 2.5 hours to cross a less than 20-meter bridge. That is how to relate.
Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has asked aspirants jostling for the various National Assembly leadership positions to work and respect the decision of the All Progressives Congress and the president-elect. Governor Wike, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, stated this in Kaduna State yesterday at a public book presentation, Putting People First, the El Rufai Years. He also commended Governor El Rufai for championing the zoning of the presidency to the southern parts of the country for equity and fairness. Governor Wike, speaking on the sidelines of the book launch, called on aspirants of leadership in the leadership posts in the National Assembly to work together to enable the incoming administration succeed in delivering its campaign promises to the people. And some elected members of the House of Representatives for the 10th National Assembly across the different political party platforms say they will field Speaker and Deputy Speaker candidates. The elected lawmakers agreed to present a consensus candidate which will challenge the candidates put forward by the ruling APC. This decision was reached yesterday after their meeting at the Transcorp Hotel in Abuja, with some speakership aspirants like Aliyu Betara, Yusuf Gaji, Miriam Onoha, and others in attendance. This move appears to be in a direct defiance of the zoning arrangement as announced by the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The party organs zoned others are the Speaker and Deputy of the House to the Northwest, Southeast respectively, with Abbas Tajuddin Kaduna and Ben Kalu Abia the preferred candidates. To legal matters, the Labour Party has said it will be calling 50 witnesses to testify against the victory of the president-elect Bola Tinubu and will need 7 weeks to get this done. According to the party's counsel, Awa Kalu, who addressed the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal in Abuja yesterday, the duration is because the forensic investigation of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, has yet to be carried out as directed by the court. Secondly, the council said the petitioner is awaiting some documents requested for. It was also agreed the star witnesses would need 30 minutes to demonstrate any electronic evidence. INEC said it had 5 witnesses set to testify in the Labour Party's petition and proposed 7 days to get it done. Lead counsel of the commission, Abubakar Mahmoud, however, disagreed that there should be a separate time for demonstration of electronic evidence. Roland Otaru, counsel to the president-elect Bola Tinubu and the vice president-elect Kashim Shettima, proposed 9 days to call their witnesses, excluding expert witnesses. The APC aligned with the submission of Senator Tinubu and Senator Shettima's counsel, adding that it will be presenting 7 witnesses for 9 days. Meanwhile, ahead of yesterday's sitting, supporters of the Labour Party gathered outside the Court of Appeal and sang the national anthem.
Nigerian people, excellent Nigerian people, ever-conscious Nigerian people, non-giving up Nigerian youth. Today we are out again like ever. A lot of our comrades are going to be addressing.
A federal high court in Abuja has issued an order requiring President Muhammadu Buhari and his administration to answer for how a $460 million Chinese loan was used to fund the failed Abuja closed-circuit television project. According to the court's judgment, the administration must publish the total amount of money paid to Chinese and local companies and contractors and the precise details of the identities of the companies and contractors, as well as the status of the implementation of the project. Honorable Judge Emeka Nwite issued the directives in his ruling in the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project's Freedom of Information lawsuit. The suit followed the disclosure in 2019 by the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, that Nigeria was servicing the loan, adding that she had no explanations on the status of the project. To security, the Imo State Police Command has launched a probe into the killing of 2 of its officers at a checkpoint at Umudim Okpala Junction along the Owerri-Aba Road yesterday morning. The slain policemen were on duty when gunmen stormed the checkpoint and began shooting. The command's public relations officer, Henry Okoye, said the police are tracking the attackers and they will be brought to book. According to the police spokesperson, some of the suspects escaped with bullet wounds during a gun battle with the officers. You are watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
The Korean War of 1950 to 1953 pitched North and South Korea against each other in response to intrigues by nations beyond their border with different interests from those canvassed by the two brother nations. The Korean War had all the nuances of an external conflict induced by powers that were interested in subjugating North and South Korea. Japan had leveraged on its military power to annex Korea in 1900 and imposed a military union that did not sit well with the citizens. Japan not only lost its war of conquest against Korea, all its powers were obliterated by the effect of the World War II. The end of World War II got Korea divided into two nations along 38th parallel lines by the instrumentality of the United States of America and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. The Korean War lapsed into a Cold War when it stopped the prying eyes of external forces into the internal affairs of a nation now divided along its north and southern territories. Western Spring Television identifies the Korean War as a major event in history. The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa as initiated by German leader Otto von Bismarck. The Berlin Conference is often called the scramble for and partitioning of Africa, as each of the imperial powers carved separate portions of the continent for themselves without recourse to racial and cultural identities and differences. 137 years after the Berlin Conference was held, Africa remains a legitimized playground for European nations that sought to exploit its wealth and resources and manipulate its human capital to promote trades and investments of Western powers. Western Spring Television identifies Berlin Conference as a major event in history.
Welcome back. We'll serve you more reports now. The president-elect Bola Tinubu has returned to the country from his working visit to France. The private jet of the two-term governor of Lagos State landed at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja at about 2:15 p.m. yesterday, where he was welcomed by his supporters, party members, and some governors. Amongst the delegation were Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, Senate President Ahmed Lawan, and the ruling party's anointed candidate for the post of Senate President in the 10th Assembly, Godswill Akpabio. Senator Tinubu was accompanied by his wife, Oluremi. The former Lagos governor is expected to join President Muhammadu Buhari and other dignitaries for the official opening of the Dangote refinery complex in his home state on Monday. In business, Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun has hailed President Buhari on the appointment of first female Accountant General of the Federation, Dr. Toyin Madeyin. Governor Abiodun, in a statement in Abeokuta by his Chief Press Secretary, Kunle Shomori, expressed delight that Dr. Madeyin, the first female to occupy the exalted position in the country, is from Ogun. The governor stated that she had recorded another first for the state, reputed for many firsts in the country. According to the governor, the newly appointed Accountant General's track records and astuteness in the accounting profession